So I'm with Matt McLean. You're the CFO here at Standard Roofing. So Matt, first of all, I guess tell us a little bit about your background, about your story, how you got started in construction as a CFO and so forth.
My previous employer was a custom home builder, and I was their finance officer. And that's really where I got my foot in the door of construction world. And then through a relationship and a recommendation, I was able to land the CFO job here. And I really have fallen in love with the construction industry. It's a fun product. You know, our motto is we protect what matters. And so although we put on commercial roofs, most people don't think of roofs as being very important. They are super important. Most people need one over their heads most times. And so I like the product. I love the people we get to work with. And for me, I love analytics and numbers, and construction has its challenges for sure with accounting and cash flow. And I love tackling those challenges.
So tell me a bit more about where you were at technology-wise before, you came to us and so forth. What accounting systems did you come from? And then what was driving the need for a change for you all?
So we were just using originally an out-of-the-box accounting software, QuickBooks, and then we moved to what was their more construction version, and we could get a good P&L, balance sheet, statement of cash flows out of it at a very affordable price, and it worked, but we wanted more, and we used it for only a couple years here, or a few years here, until we realized we needed something with more capabilities.
So what was the more that you needed?
First, we wanted to improve our efficiencies. QuickBooks is a great software, but if you have things like a work in progress and you have significant under/over billings, you're going to have to do that in Excel. And so we were spending a lot of time not having real-time live data because we'd have to update our Excel models first and literally going row by row and entering in new numbers. And so we wanted to increase some efficiencies. We wanted to automate some things, have it captured in the software system itself instead of us creating the data we wanted. And then we wanted better capabilities of reporting. And we wanted to be able to track just some data points, like these are our service trucks and how is each truck doing. And we wanted to see if a project manager is on a job, how do all his jobs do? And just some increased capabilities there on the reporting side. We wanted to be able to keep up with some of the tech that is coming down the pipeline of automating our AP and automating our AR and some of those things, and things we just could not do with a good QuickBooks accounting software. We just wanted something better. Eventually we moved into we needed to be able to consolidate financials as well, which we were unable to do with QuickBooks.
Yeah, so Sage Intacct, it is a very scalable system. Some companies just run one entity in it. Some run 1,000 or more, however many. There's tons of different companies of different sizes using this. So you and I first started talking, I know you guys have growth goals. Eventually, it sounds like you guys will probably use it to scale your business. Am I right about that?
Yes, absolutely. There are visions and dreams to have multiple affiliates and subsidiaries and to really scale Standard Roofing to not just where currently we're located in multiple locations, but it's still Standard Roofing Company, but capture the front end of the roofing process and maybe capture some of the back end and get into some full envelope waterproofing and we have a metal shop, and so just quite a bit of complexities that we expect to come to Standard Roofing, and we knew we were going to have to get ahead of that if it was going to work.
So tell me about how you first found out about Sage.
So Sage was actually one of the later products that I researched. I think I researched for a year. I think you and I talked for a year. But I really was just trying to look at what were the major players doing and what was out there. There's a lot out there. There's quite a bit. A bunch of people are using different things, and I was on a bunch of forums, and so I was just kind of going through and compiling information forever. And Sage Intacct was one of the later ones that I discovered, and somebody that I communicate with regularly who's in the Northeast, she previously had used Sage. And I don't know if it's Sage Intacct or Sage 300, but that's when Sage came onto my radar. And I saw Sage Intacct was really the flagship moving forward. And so that's how I got into it. And it became my main focus after that because I liked what I was seeing. Chiefly, there were some other softwares that we liked a lot, but they could get the job done, but their interface seemed really archaic and clunky. And we were going to upgrade accounting software. Not only did we want to go with just a top of the line accounting software, but we wanted it to have a modern interface. And Sage Intacct definitely had that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of companies out there, they make great construction software.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is there really are not many that are truly modern and cloud native, just like Intacct. And so you said it, I mean, it
looks good, it feels good to use.
Yeah.
And I liked that,
Yeah.
It has more buttons than QuickBooks did, for sure, but they at least look good and they make sense to where they go. So we like that.
So what was fun for me is, yeah, you're right. I was looking back and I think we first started talking in February of last year. And what was fun for me was you're like, yeah, I'm going to do my own research. I'm like, okay, no problem. Go do it. I enjoyed that part of it because the reason we have changed the way we do things at Banger, putting a lot of content out online, is because we know today a lot of people, they just like to do their research first on their own before they come and do a demo. And you and I'm not sure, we might have had one demo, maybe.
Yeah.
But tell me about that. And obviously our content was useful for you.
Yes, I was able to get information from Sage Intacct easier than I was anywhere else. And that was really helpful. So I went into it before the demo feeling like I had high confidence in how it was going to go. YouTube, I could read articles, get information. What I wanted to very quickly right off the bat was check off, can it do an automated whip? Does it have AP automation capabilities? Can it do purchase orders and track inventory? I wanted to check those boxes first. Then I wanted to see what it felt like. And I didn't have to schedule a meeting, which you kind of have to work yourself up for. And I just went to YouTube and I saw Mike and Lisa and walking people through how to do it. And I was like, this is great. I could see myself doing this. So just the information that was out there was really helpful.
Good. I'm glad it was helpful for you because, not everybody takes advantage of that. So that makes us really happy when we know people are getting a lot of value out of that content because we produce content every single day.
And it really was Banger who was the kind of the name producing the content. It seemed like there wasn't there was good Sage Intacct information out there, but I saw Banger all over the place. So I was like, hey, these are the people I'm actually talking with and their stuff is online. The worlds collided really nicely there.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me a bit about your experience with Banger deployment and how that went for you and how you liked it.
That has been a 10 out of 10. So the software has been great. No software change is easy, which is why I wanted to get it right the first time. It's just you lose efficiency, your training staff, and Banger has come alongside and not only helped us get the most out of the software, but just been a breath of fresh air to work with. Really talented people, people who know what they're doing, but just energetic and passionate about their product. And so first, when you're meeting with them, you kind of feed off that energy, but then they send you to these self-paced videos and libraries that I found was exactly how I wanted to do it. I didn't really want to cram what I was doing into another timeline where I'm cramming to meet a meeting for the next week or something. Self-paced was perfect. So loved that with really talented people. The deployment has been great. In fact, I actually have questions for you guys on what is your operating model? How have you guys had success? Because everyone has been the same level of fantastic.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that feedback. Our team put a lot of energy, a lot of work, a lot of time into making our content really good, really valuable, variety as well, not just like high level demos, but there are some out there, but then details, because we know accountants, they like to know how details. Things happen, right? Yeah. And our program too, like you said, I could go self-paced, but also like we've had plenty of people say, I just work with Banger every single day anyway. And like the old model, we used to do the old model, which was hourly billing. We estimated chunk hours for you. We always, we can't guarantee we're going to be able to do it in that time. There's usually change orders. Mm-hmm. It's usually a mess. Then you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to go back to my boss and be like, hey, Banger wants to charge me another amount of dollars because we need more XYZ or whatever it is, right? So and we can get into this more later too, but yeah, we changed the model because we wanted things to be more predictable. We didn't want you to have to go back to your boss and say, I need to spend more money and I need to take more time and all that. And so we've had people do what you do. They do everything pretty much on their own, and then they tap our team when they need to.
Mm-hmm.
We've had people that are live with us every single day.
Yeah.
Whereas the old model, maybe once or twice a week, you're with us for an hour or two, 3, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then again, you're tied to our schedules, your schedule, things pop up. So we wanted to kind of get rid of all of those roadblocks with the new model so you guys can be successful as quickly as you want to be.
It makes a lot of sense. For my previous employer, we had someone come in and they're with you for a few days, but as soon as they leave, that's when you realize all the questions, you don't even remember how to go. So to have those self-paced resources there and the on-demand content with that live meeting that you can tap into every day and ask for help and guidance, that's amazing.
I'm glad you mentioned the on-site because we do still have folks today that are like, hey, can you come implement us on-site? Because there is a little bit of a kind of a misinformation that on-site is better, but it really is not, because you're right, you're there with them for a concentrated period of time, which takes you away from your day job. So there's some value, like you don't have maybe the distraction, but then you're like, yeah, you think about everything else after the fact because you're not just one and done. You're not just, if you're buying a new system, we want you to get the most out of it. You're going to want to as well. And there's always going to be questions.
Well, and you have to learn it.
And you have to learn it, yes.
If you build it, you're going to be learning it.
Exactly. So, I know you've been live for a little bit now. How has it impacted your day-to-day so far?
So we have our first quarterly meeting next week, and it has been a ton of fun to prepare for because I'm able to produce more reports now. I don't have to get things out in Excel, and so I will wait longer to produce my reports because I can produce them faster, but I can still have more volume. And so our other department heads and the owners are going to get a different look. They're going to get the first glimpse of how Sage has impacted us. So that's great. We immediately synced up our credit cards, which we couldn't do in our old software. And so we do about several hundred credit card transactions a month, and those are automatically going in. So AP has experienced that benefit. And I would say the automated whip was a quick, easy one that was a time saver for us. And so those right there, probably any one or two of those has made it worth it, but we know there's more to come as we just continue to use the software. And so we're excited. I'm still just as excited today using the software as I was when we pulled the trigger to say, hey, let's merge into Sage Intacct.
That's great. That's what we want. I look forward to talking to you again in the future too, as you get more deeply into things, because I just know you are going to find a lot more efficiency out of it and so forth. So, And how many folks do you have on your accounting team that are in it doing accounting day to day?
We have 4 of us on the accounting team using it day to day, but we are bringing in estimators, project managers, department heads, to have certain visibilities and usage of the software. Okay. So we're doing the debits and credits, but they want to have financial reports that they can see and monitor.
Have you built those out yet for them?
No.
Okay, getting there. Yeah. It's a process.
Yes, I'm not ready to invite that storm of questions,
Yeah, I hear you. Have you seen it impact your month-end closing cycle yet?
We're definitely faster. Yeah, no doubt.
That's good to hear. Because that's what Sage Intacct they're all about is, getting to a continuous close where you're not having to even spend any time. It's just a continuous cycle.
Yes.
And so we can't wait for that day because we have had customers cut their time in half, on close. I
haven't got into the smart rules and just the reoccurring things you can have happen. But once I kind of wade into that, and I will definitely be tapping into some of the resources Bangor has out there to learn it, but I can see where that will really help us too.
And I always kind of like to ask this of everybody. If you were to give advice to anybody out there that's just starting a software search, would you have any tips and tricks to give them? Especially because you're moving from QuickBooks where it's a low-cost system. It can do a lot, but also then you're moving into a system where you are going to spend more money than QuickBooks, frankly. And sometimes a lot of folks, they have hesitation of like, ooh, can we make this investment? What tips would you have, one, on the search process, and then 2, making the investment, spending a little more money on your accounting system?
Investigating is just compiling all the data you can and talking to as many people as you can. And so I even tried to take some shortcuts where there's like free, like, hey, we'll tell you the software that's going to work best for you. It just led to more time and hassle. And so I just opened up an Excel sheet and just started. I first identified what I needed, what I wanted out of it, what would make it worth it. And then I think it comes down to just an ROI. If you can pick up a faster month-end close and your AP is no longer doing credit card transactions, and then you have the cost of the accounting software, but you gain efficiency, hopefully to cover it and then some. And so what is reporting worth and analytics worth to your owners and to your function and your value to the company? And so I actually found the software to be affordable compared to what it can do versus how much others cost and what they do. So I think it is, it's AI CPA endorsed. I think it's the Cadillac of accounting software. And I think it comes, obviously it's all perspective, but at an affordable price. So.
Yeah. Well, great. That's great. That's great to hear. Well, I have to lastly say one thing. I got such a kick out of talking to you a couple times, and you're like, I'm high on Sage.
Yes.
I'm high on Sage. And you really are, because and you dug in. So I commend you for all that, because
thank you.
Switching your ERP is not easy, but also just researching it and figuring out what is best for you is not an easy feat either. So.
Yes, thank you. Well, the team has fallen in love with it too, so it's not just me, but at the quarterly, I'm really going to be able to show it off.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear that. We're going to have to touch base on how that all goes for everybody. So really excited about that.